if I'm being honest, after a lot of soul searching over a period of 20 years, the real reason why I studied medicine was because 20 years ago, when I made that decision to study medicine, doctors were the most respected professionals in that day. And I like respect. And that was the reason why I studied medicine. But 20 years down the line, boy, do I have a story to tell and advices to give. Studying medicine in Nigeria. My expectation versus reality starts now. By the way, why am I wearing a suit? You'll find out. Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Temitope Oyetuje, a practicing family physician. And yes, I got into medical school some 20 years ago. I matriculated in 2004. And today I've completed my residency training in family medicine. But of course, I went through a journey to get here, a very long journey at that. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to take you through that journey. I'm going to list my expectations going into medical school in Nigeria, and we are going to decide together at the end of the day if my expectations matched my reality. And then, of course, at the end, I'll be giving an advice or two as somebody who has 10 years of practice under her belt. I believe I count as a medical elder, and I'll be giving an advice or two for somebody who wants to study medicine in Nigeria or somebody already in the process of becoming a doctor in Nigeria. So first, let's list my expectations. Number one, like I said, I came here for the respect, so I expected that I would be respected even as a medical student. Number two, I expected that studying medicine will be all shades of exciting because I'll be studying the human body, how it works, how to make people well and cure diseases. I mean, how could that not be exciting and interesting? Number three, I expected that I will pass my exams and graduate from medical school in record time. Number four, I expected that once I finished medical school, I would get a job easily and be handsomely rewarded for all the hard work I would have to put in medical school, starting with my internship year. And of course, when I was leaving medical school, I expected to have a significant medical career, contributing something notable to the field of medicine. That said, let's zoom into reality. Getting to study medicine for me was a great struggle. I didn't have the required score in JAMB, even though I was a decently brilliant student through my primary and secondary school. So I had to do a pre-degree program at Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso. If you went to the same school, give me a shout out in the comments. I did finish this pre-degree program with a decent score, but again, my score was not high enough to make it into medicine or merit. But after lots of prayers and fastings and pulling a lot of human strings, I eventually got in. Now, like I've told you, I was decently brilliant through my primary and secondary school days. But when I got into medicine, I found out that medicine demanded something extra from you, aside from being brilliant, and I wasn't able to give that. So for me, medical school was not a walk in the park. But to my family members, to some colleagues, to people outside, they didn't know that because I managed to pass all my exams at one sitting. Call it a mojo for passing exams with just average stuff. I had that. Medical school in Nigeria is supposed to take 6 years. But in my case, I spent 9 years in school, even though I didn't fail any exam. That is because Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, the school where I went, was the epicenter of every manner of problems you could think about. ASU strike, political struggles, accreditation issues, we had all of that. So at the end of the day, I ended up spending 9 years instead of 6 years in medical school. So you can imagine my joy when I finally graduated from medical school. And back to the reason why I'm wearing this suit. Believe it or not, this is my induction suit. This suit is over 10 years old. I got it at Idumota Market. Then my medical school was in Oshogbo, but I traveled to Idumota Market to get this induction suit. I think it was 16,000 back then. Stocky suit. And I'm still wearing it over 10 years later. So that's the story of my suit. On my induction day, I went on Facebook. I told the world that, after 9 years, I'm finished medical school. I was overjoyed. My induction party was, yeah. And then after induction, the next thing was supposed to be housemanship. And Bearing in mind that I never wanted to go to LAUTECH. I told you that, right? I just didn't score high enough in JAMB. That was how I went to LAUTECH. So I figured if I didn't get to choose my medical school, at least I should get to choose where I would have my internship, right? So I chose Lagos University Teaching Hospital. But unfortunately, LUTH failed to choose me. And so I waited for over a year to get into LUTH. And by the time it was obvious that I wasn't going to get in, I had wasted more than 12 months. I had to start looking for house job elsewhere. And eventually, the only place I got was in the far north. That was in Kefi, North Central Nigeria. And get this, house job is usually 12 months, right? But the same me actually spent 15 months instead of 12 months doing house job, because in that hospital where I did my house job, doctors went on strike for like 3 months, and so they added 3 months to our internship year. But the good thing about that was that meant I had 15 months salary instead of 12 months salary. So that was the only good thing about that incident back then, that I had 15 months salary, and by the end of my internship year I was a millionaire. If being a millionaire meant you have at least $1 million in your account. But by the end of house job, I was really financially satisfied. So I finally finished house job around December 2015, and I started getting ready to go for service. So how did my reality differ from my expectation at that point? Number one, did I get the respect I was looking for? Yes, to an extent I was respected in many circles, even as a medical student, and more so when I became a doctor. So I would score that a 70. Was studying medicine exciting and interesting? Not for me, it wasn't. For the most part, it was burdensome, draining, and unending. I just couldn't wait for it to end. So I'll definitely score that a 30. Did I pass my exams easily? Oh well, yes. I did pass all my exams in one sitting, so that's definitely an 80. Did I graduate in record time? Heavens no. If there's one thing I was not satisfied with about medical school in Nigeria, it was the fact that I had to spend 9 years, 3 extra years in school. So that's definitely a 30 for me. I did not get to graduate in record time. Did I get a job easily after school? No, I didn't. But I would say that was due to an error in judgment on my part. It's not that the system was perfect even back then, but I made my own choices. So that was why I didn't get house job on time. So I would say maybe a 30. Of course, I didn't get house job on time, so 30. Was I handsomely rewarded for my struggles and sufferings of medical school when I graduated? That would be a yes. Like I said, I was one financially satisfied doctor after my house job. So that is 100. Yes, I was satisfied. I was handsomely rewarded for my work. Yes. And the last one, have I contributed any significant thing to the field of medicine? Now, you would have to wait to find out about that, because I'll talk about that in the next video. How has practicing medicine been like for me? Now, I've told you about how medical school was for me, but how has the practice of medicine been for me? I'm going to be talking about that in another video. So what should anyone hoping to study medicine in Nigeria or already in the process take away from this video or from my experience? I would say qualifying as a medical doctor in Nigeria is entirely doable, but it's better you are graced for it so that it doesn't become a struggle or a burden. What do I mean by that? Are you disciplined? Does reading lots and lots of big textbooks come readily to you? Do you pay attention to detail? Do you function well under pressure? Do you remember most of the things that you read? Do you have a lot of empathy and patience, and can you sacrifice your sleep and comfort to help people? If you answered yes to all of the above, then medicine is for you. You can go ahead. But if you find that you answered no to any one of the above and you are struggling right now in medical school, you just need to be patient and resilient, and you can do it like I did. Everything may not work out the way you planned or expected because of the Nigerian factor, but tough times never last. But tough people like you and I, it definitely do. And that's enough story for one video. I'm the good Nigerian doctor, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless Nigeria.